Hello, my name is Daniel Hackendahl. I have a little bit of a rant to talk about right now. I've been vaping for about 10 years now. 9 or 10 years now. Never, to the best of my knowledge, had any type of adverse reactions or anything like that. I mix my own nicotine. I use 100 milligram per milliliter strength of concentrated nicotine, and that's glycerin based. And I use a separate, much larger amount of glycerin. I take 3 parts of the glycerin, 1 part the concentrated nicotine, mix that together, and I end up with 25 milligram per milliliter strength nicotine that is 100% glycerin based, which technically comes out to 2.5% nicotine, 97.5% glycerin. I remember earlier on when I was mixing, there were warnings all the time about don't get it on your skin. You know, you can overdose by how absorbent it is, how readily nicotine goes through the skin into your bloodstream. Can't tell you how many times I have spilled concentrated nicotine all over myself because I'm a klutz. I'm still alive, and I didn't even have any lightheadedness, like from a nicotine high, because it's not really absorbable into the skin. The nicotine patches have a certain chemical, I can't remember what it's called, but the chemical actually opens up the pores enough to allow stuff to go into your bloodstream. So essentially you can put, all this different things on that stuff and make it absorb into your skin, go into your bloodstream. Anyway, it's harmless whenever it's on your skin. I've used 100 strength, feeling dehydrated, I've used 100 milligram strength nicotine as moisturizer because I didn't have anything else at the time. Then there's, these claims that it has different cancer-causing stuff in it. It's poisonous in different ways. So addictive. Addictive is another one. Okay. If you're going out, you're going to be in town for the day, getting stuff done, and you realize you forgot to bring your pack of cigarettes. The first place you're going to go before you go anywhere else is going to be the gas station or liquor store to buy a pack of cigarettes. If you go on a long road trip for a week and you're just about to get out of town, you notice you don't have your e-cig. Most likely you're just going to keep driving. And oh well. It sucks, but oh well. By definition, this is not an addiction. Also, just because there are commercials and lots of propaganda saying that e-cigs are bad for you does not mean that people are using it knowing that it could be harmful to their health. It's sort of like if there was a whole bunch of ads saying that spoons are bad for you, and if you continue using it, then you're going to be claimed that you're addicted to spoons because you're using something that's potentially harmful. This is anti-logic. The fact is, the government makes tens of billions of dollars a year on cigarette taxes. When I say that, I don't mean tobacco taxes, and I don't mean carton taxes. I mean individual packs of cigarettes. The taxes that you're charged for that by itself pay the taxes for that pay tens of billions of dollars to the government. The government does not want you to quit smoking cigarettes. The government does not like electronic cigarettes because they actually work. All smoking cessation devices, all FDA-approved smoking cessation devices are crappy in how much they get you to quit smoking cigarettes. They don't. Now, let me ask you this. If a whole bunch of people, if people tell you that don't eat pork, pork's bad for you, what are you going to do? You're going to eat more pork. To say, you know, F you, I'm going to eat pork. It's my decision, it's my body. Okay. Now, same goes for cigarettes. There are a lot of people that enjoy smoking cigarettes. And when the government has this gigantic campaign demonizing cigarettes, it's just like any prohibition. You demonize something, more people end up using it. So it is, again, in the best interest of the government for people to continue smoking cigarettes. This is why electronic cigarettes have such a bad name, because there are a lot of organizations out there that get money for people being sick on cigarettes. For the different cancer society organizations out there, charities, would they be in existence anymore if nobody smoked cigarettes? They want you to smoke cigarettes. That's why you get a whole bunch of argument-free claims that vaping's bad for you. And it's really depressing. There are two things in unflavored nicotine. Nicotine and glycerin. Both are very well known to have no problems in the body. They put glycerin in, many bakeries use glycerin in their pastries that they serve to your kids. This stuff is fine. When you vaporize it, what's happening is it's bonding to water. It's water and glycerin. Glycerin is a sugar alcohol. You combine the sugar alcohol with water, and it goes into your lungs. Nothing happens, except for maybe two things. It humidifies your lungs, and it kills off bacteria, viruses, and fungus. It's antimicrobial, antibacterial, and antifungal, and antiviral. They were talking about vaporizing this stuff and pumping it into schools and theaters way back in the 50s and 60s. And suddenly, you know, after they realized that, hey, this stuff kills the flu virus, they stopped researching it. Now, nicotine. What's so bad about nicotine? The worst thing, nicotine is not a cancer-causing agent. There's no evidence of that. There are 40 different chemicals in organic tobacco that's cancer-causing. There are 80 different chemicals in organic tobacco that's addictive. Nicotine is not part of that. Nicotine is not cancer-causing. All nicotine does is it goes into your system, attaches to the acetylcholine, nicotine-specific acetylcholine receptors that are absolutely natural in your body. And basically, it has a very similar effect to norepinephrine. It's cognitive enhancing. Pretty much every single smart drug on the market attaches to the exact same receptor that nicotine does. It literally makes you more intelligent. It causes you to grow more brain cells. It doesn't kill brain cells. That is one of the stupidest things I've ever heard. It does not cause DNA damage. All it does is it hooks up to the nicotinic acetylcholine receptors and causes you to have quicker thoughts, learn faster. It relieves different types of stress. It relieves adrenaline, dopamine-based depression, which is considered treatment-resistant depression, by the way. It relieves many types of anxiety, like OCD and all that type of stuff, which is why people with those issues self-medicate by smoking cigarettes. Nicotine. Remember, I'm talking about nicotine, not cigarettes. Two completely different things. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but a lot of the anti-smoking ads have evolved to being anti-nicotine ads. They very discreetly brought that in there because they figured out that they could talk crap about vaping. They could use anti-smoking propaganda to actually encourage smoking by planting the seed that vaping is so bad for you. So yeah, nicotine is literally a smart drug that alleviates many depressive symptoms, OCD symptoms, different anxiety symptoms, social anxiety, generalized anxiety disorder. It helps with bipolar depression. It helps with schizophrenia, borderline personality disorder, I mean, there are a lot of different mental disorders and emotional disorders that nicotine is like a miracle drug for. So, I mean, imagine if vaping was all of a sudden super accepted in society and people weren't, and nowhere near as many people needed antidepressants to be functional. Imagine that. Most antidepressants, you have to take it for like a certain number of days, even like up to a week or two, every day before it starts working. And then if you have to quit it, then it takes quite a while. But whereas nicotine, it's in your system for a few hours. Oh yeah, that brings another thing to thought. Nic salts. That was my light. Oops. Let's get this all set back up. Okay. Nic salts. Huge new thing that more mirrors cigarettes and the way it affects you. So it seems like, oh my gosh, this is such an awesome thing. No, that should be a red flag. See, one of the things that makes cigarettes worse for you in the nicotine spectrum of it than vaping is because the monoamine oxidase inhibitors in the organic tobacco, MAOIs, and the organic tobacco basically catalyze the nicotine and make it so that, well, if you can imagine, here's a graph, right here. If the high for smoking a cigarette is mapped on it, it's going to look about like that, and it's going to droop down. It's going to go, it's going to shoot up and then go down. With vaping, anyone who's vape will notice that you don't have that hard hit. The first time you smoke a cigarette for the day, you feel like you're going to pass out. You feel lightheaded and floored. Whereas nicotine in vaping, it's kind of shaped like that. The graph will be shaped just kind of an easy in, easy out, longer duration. Now, the nic salts. I've done a little bit of research and I haven't figured exactly how this works, but the claim is that it has the high from it mirrors the cigarette high more than the vaping. And so when you have the cigarette shoots up like that, goes down, the nic salts shoot up, not quite as much, and then go down. So it's like this. Yeah, I'll try to include the some links to that information. Anyway, the point is, it's gonna make it look like vaping is addictive, because you're getting the same type of addictive high from the cigarettes. Whereas vaping, it's so mellow that you can't really get addicted to it. It's just nice and stress relieving. Now, so I advise everyone to not use nic salts. Now, the argument that, you don't have to use as much battery life, you don't have to use as strong coils for the nic salts to work, this is not true. If you're using 50 milligram nicotine, whether it's nic salts or and I can't think of what it's called. But the standard nicotine for vaping. Either way, you can use a weaker coil, weaker battery, weaker setup, and get just as much nicotine from it. In fact, I can use 100 milligram and barely tap on my button, and I'll get more from my regular nicotine than the nic salts. The nic salts are just like 50 or 54 milligram liquid. Of course, it's going to be stronger. So, stop using the salt. Stop messing yourself up. Use the plain nicotine. Get yourself some 100 milligram. You can get a freaking liter of 100 milligram. That's 1,000 milliliters of 100 milligram strength liquid for $45. And then plus the gallon of glycerin, you can make 20 milligram liquid. You can make 20 milligram liquid, 4,000 milliliters of 20 milligram liquid for $50 altogether. To give you an idea, each milliliter of 24 milligram liquid is equivalent to one pack of cigarettes. That's 4,000 packs of cigarettes for $50. And you don't use it more often than if you buy individual packs of cigarettes or individual dollars. Trust me, I've been doing it for years. I did the calculation, and the exact amount of nicotine I use just happens to be the exact amount of cigarettes I smoked 10 years ago. Even though I had no reference to put it on, I still maintained the exact nicotine usage. Of course, ironically, that includes all the nicotine that I spill, because I'm a klutz. Go figure. I use less, because I don't have to think about it. I'm poor as hell too. So, even though I'm poor as hell, I end up giving a crap load of nicotine away. Just because my stuff is much higher quality than anyone else's. And there aren't any extra chemicals. There's 2 chemicals in it, glycerin and nicotine. Anyway, bottom line, it's not addictive. It's not less addictive. It's just not really addictive. It's just enjoyable. You should look up the diagnostic criteria for drug addiction. Makes no sense. Nicotine vaping is not addictive. Glycerin is not bad for you. In fact, it kills any type of pathogen that's in your lungs. It could be the answer to the flu virus. It could be the answer to pneumonia. Enjoy, more videos like this. I have all kinds of information about vaping and otherwise. So please don't forget to subscribe. Click on the reminder, the little bell notification thingy. And if you want to donate to my channel, I am at parse, PARSE 13 at gmail.com. You can donate on PayPal using that email address. You can donate on, I haven't been really using my Patreon, so yeah, PayPal. PayPal me. Parse13, PARSE 13 at gmail.com. You can follow me on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. Same email address. Almost everything I have is either Act Nice 1986 or Parse13. My name's Daniel Ackendall. Anyway, have a good day. Subscribe, share, notifications. And I'll see you next time.